everyone. Welcome to the TRU Sports Show here on the Varsity Sports Network. I'm your co-host, Bobby Lattimore, joined alongside the coach of the TRU Quarterback Sports Ultimate Training Camp of the Quarterback Camp, Balin Trujillo. Balin, welcome back, buddy. Another show.
Yeah, episode 4 is here. I am excited, man. The last 3 weeks have been great. I'm looking for another great episode 4 here on VSN Orlando. Again, Bobby, thank you for having me. It's been a sheer joy doing this every week and introducing some of the quarterbacks that I train, especially last week with my cousin. And we got a couple interviews this week that I'm looking really forward to. 2 kids that you guys will love. Their personalities are a little bit different, but their gameplay is very similar and both have big futures. And I can't wait to get with that. And also we're going to hear a lot about my opinions on 7-on-7, what's happening with the NCAA and how the FHSAA is really putting a hammer down on whether you should be playing like a all-star 7-on-7 or with your high school, especially during these COVID times and being introduced to, other athletes and traveling and being away from your high school or being full-time with your high school. So that's going to be a good topic. And we got some good stuff this week, Bobby. So thank you again for having me.
Hey, man, we always look forward to it. Balin, you do a great job with your training camps and everything else. And I know you have fun with this show because we really do. We have the kids love being on it and everybody else has a good time watching it. So it's been a lot of fun. Hey, you like my background?
Yeah, it looks nice, man.
Yeah, man, I have to get you one. Even though you're the star of the show, I got to get you his background.
That's it. Thank you.
We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, more here on the TRU Sports Show. We're going to talk to a couple of Balin's quarterbacks that he trains each week. We met one of them out there at his trainings last weekend there over in Haines City. Just a great kid, Lynn Johnson out of Bartow High School. And then we got a great interview with Gavin Savino out of Westport that Balin went one-on-one with find a little bit about him. So these 2 kids, up-and-coming seniors here this next year. Balin, I know you've been working with them and stuff like that. So we'll hear more about that. And plus some 7-on-7 talk when we come back after this here on the TRU Sports Show. Welcome back, everybody, here to the TRU Sports Show here in the Varsity Sports Network. Bobby Lattimore, along with Balin Trujillo. And Balin, as I mentioned before we went to break, we actually got a very great up-and-close and personal interview with a kid out of Bartow High School, Lynn Johnson. Of course, Bartow, not many people know about Bartow down there, but this kid's special. He's been working out with you for a little while now, and you really got some great things to say about him. Good kid. He's done well with, in your training camp. So let's hear a little bit about your take on him.
Yeah. So Lynn Johnson, there's so much I could say about him. He's very competitive, very detailed, has a great family. This kid is special. And when I know I say the word special a lot, but this kid's a little bit different. He's got all the tools. I remember the first time I trained him was during an Elite 11 script. His dad reached out to me on Twitter, saw that I'd been doing quarterback trainings in the Davenport area. And so he said, hey, man, I noticed you've been doing trainings. I really want my son to get out there and do an Elite 11 script. So hopefully he has the opportunity to compete in the biggest quarterback competition in the country. And I said, yeah, no doubt. So he ended up coming to Davenport after a training and did the whole Elite 11 script with me. And, man, I tell you what, I put him through the ringer. And he will tell you a lot about that experience. He was on the ground, gassed. I mean, he's never been put through such a severe workout. On top of that, doing an Elite 11 script. That was pretty intense for him. And after that day, we've been inseparable. I mean, he calls me on FaceTime during class. He's walking around school just trying to get information from me. We talk a lot about recruiting. There's some big-time Division I programs right now having him on his radar, most notably FAU. I'm in contact with Coach Kelly every single day about Lynn and watching his progress and focusing on some of the little details that's going to help him get recruited and get that first official offer at the Division I level, which I believe he is Division I caliber. But, man, just an overall great guy. You're going to hear his interview that you were able to do last week in our trainings, and you're going to hear a little bit about him and what he, it's his take on football. But what a crazy journey he's had. He's been going to be a 4-year starter on varsity. Like you mentioned, Bartow's really not known. They were a state championship program in the early 90s. So they do have a state championship under their belt, but they've kind of been under the radar for a long time now, especially being in the shadow of great teams in that Lakeland area, like Armwood, like Lakeland, like Lake Gibson. So last year, they went undefeated. He led them to a perfect 9-0 record and then ended up sitting next to someone with COVID going into playoffs. And he was the only player to sit out in the playoff game. And they ended up losing the game, which in a game that could have won. So he's definitely a big part of that football program over there. Lynn Johnson, again, had a phenomenal year through 27 touchdowns, only 3 interceptions, which is spectacular. Just great kid, even better leader, and an even better family. So he's just got the whole entire package, and he's got a lot of love to give. And like I said, he works very hard, and he just hits me up every day trying to get better at something. So that's something that, quarterbacks need to understand, that it's much more than just throwing the football. It's everything else about, going to class and being on time, doing grades, sitting in front of the classroom, and taking care of your family, whether that's waking up at 6 o'clock in the morning and taking your sister to school, or, doing the things that you need to do around the house that's going to help your family. And that's all the stuff that Lynn does. So just a great kid. And I can't wait for you guys to get to know him a little bit more in his interview with you, Bobby, after my training, and get to talk to him. So phenomenal kid, Lynn Johnson. He's going to have a great senior season. I cannot wait to see him sign next year on signing day with the program that's going to fall in love with this kid.
Lynn Johnson, Bartow High School, class of 2022.
Tell me a little bit about your last season.
It was a great season. We went undefeated the first time since, 1984. So, definitely the most fun I've ever had playing the sport, around, a great group of guys, a great group of seniors leading our team to an undefeated season. I learned so much, but it was definitely the most fun I've ever had playing the sport.
You're a senior this year, so what are your plans for next year?
After I graduate, I want to go play Division I football. That's always been the dream, but, it doesn't really matter where I go. It's just whoever wants to take a chance on me, I'm willing to go play anywhere just to play football at the next level.
How'd you hook up with Coach?
Actually, I was looking for someone to film my Elite 11 script right before the season happened in August, and my dad reached out to my friend Zach. He's a quarterback over here at Ridge, and they told me about Balin. He could film my Elite 11 script, and I decided to do a workout before that. So I really liked what I was learning, and how tough he is on you, and he's always making sure you're doing everything right, 100% as hard as you can go. So that's kind of how I found out about him.
So tell me a little bit about that Elite 11 experience.
It was definitely tough. I didn't know what to expect coming out here with Balin. I was wore out, but I definitely learned a lot, with the throws and all the footwork. I never knew, footwork would be such a big part of, one easy slant or, an out route. But I learned a lot, and it was a great experience.
So you want to go play D1 football? Do you have any offers?
I don't have any Division I offers yet, but I have a couple of schools looking at me right now. Through Balin, really, he's been a great coach. Getting my name out there and really hooking me up with some colleges right now.
I'm going to ask you the same question. Give me 2 inspirational people in your life.
God, of course, he's the most inspirational. Without him, none of this is possible. I wouldn't be here right now, but he's giving me all the blessings. The ability to come play football and have talent and be able to play it pretty well, I would say. And I'm not going to put individually my mom or dad. I'm going to put both of them. They do everything for me. Without them, this is not possible either. They go to work every day, all day long for me. So without them, none of this is going to happen.
How do you want people, when you graduate, how do you want people to be reminded of you when you leave?
Kind of like a championship, mentality. I want people to remember, hey, that's that quarterback that went undefeated, the first time in a couple of decades. I want people to be able to follow me and become a leader like me and lead a great group of guys. The future is very bright, so I want them to be able to set the standard very, very high and lead a great group of guys eventually.
If not football, what do you want to do?
I want to go to college and study journalism, be around the sport, sports broadcasting, writing, newspapers, all that. Anything's fine. I just want to be around the sport of football if they weren't, to turn out the way I wanted it.
Dude, you can come intern for us.
Yes, sir, anytime.
Awesome. You got to. Coach, I tell you what, man, this kid's the real deal. He's got he's good. He's special. His character, like you mentioned before we went to his interview and stuff like that about him being helpful with his family and things like that. This kid, and plus when we watched him work out, this kid's special, and he's from a small school in Bartow. Let me ask you a personal question. Where do you see him fitting in? What kind of college program do you see him fitting in next year?
Yeah, he's more of a spread quarterback. He's RPO. He can run the ball pretty well too. Bartow is actually known for running more of an option style offense, but with Lynn's talent to throw the football, they were more in a pistol spread and was able to showcase his ability to get out of the pocket and run. And if you see his highlights, you've seen that he can actually do some damage on his feet as well as throw a perfect deep ball. So he's got all the tools to fit into really any offense given the opportunity. I would really love to see him, go to FAU and FIU or USF He can play at some of the bigger Florida schools at the Division I level, and he can, I've gotten talks with Texas Tech and other universities where he could really fit in and really gear towards his skill set. I mean, his first game he played this past year's junior year, the team won 82-0. I mean, he is spectacular, and he's a big part of that program over there. Without him, I don't think that Bartow has much success. But like I just mentioned, they went 9-0, and the only game he sat out was the playoff game, and that was the only game they lost his junior year. So I cannot wait to see, hopefully through this pandemic, him fighting through that, and then hopefully finishing off really well in his senior year. And on top of that, as we mentioned before his interview about the Elite 11 script, he got invited. So now he's going to be competing in the Elite 11 on March 14th at Lake Cal High School, and which I'll be coaching in as well. So I'm really excited to see what he does against some of the best in the country in his home, or in this area at Lake Cal High School.
And no doubt a big tribute to you, Coach, because you got him there and you did a good job with him, because this kid's the real deal. I really enjoyed talking to him that day. Just a really good, clean character kid. Coach, a big tribute to that on the Elite 11 right there. I tell you what, that's special. You got him there, and that's going to be fun to see him wherever he goes next year.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's because of his abilities is how he got there. I'm just, God used me to get him into positions where he's able to showcase his ability. But I tell you what, the first college program, big time program that gives him an opportunity, I promise you he'll commit. So if you guys are watching colleges, I'm telling you, you're going to pull the trigger on this kid because he's the real deal.
Wow. That's something to say, because that opens up a lot of colleges to say, hey, look, this is the kind of kid we want in our program. And no doubt they better get on their feet and really start looking at this kid. So good job. Good job, Coach. When we come back, another quarterback here, Westport High School, Gavin Savino. This kid's really fun. And Coach Balin, he had a good talk with him himself, one-on-one with him. Don't go anywhere. You're not going to want to miss this. You're watching the TRU Sports Show here on the Varsity Sports Network. Welcome back, everybody, here to the TRU Sports Show here on the Varsity Sports Network. Bobby Latmore, and of course, Balin Trujillo. Coach, I tell you what, you coach a lot of good kids in your program week in and week out. And one young man is Gavin up there at Westport. He's a junior quarterback up there. Will be a senior coming up here in 2021. I tell you what, this kid has the complete package. Number one, he's a very, very outgoing person. He's not shy. He speaks his mind a little bit, which is pretty cool. He's very confident and very talented. Tell us a little bit about him.
Yeah, so Gavin, he's a special human being, man. I remember the first time that he came to one of my camps, and he literally said to me, I think one of his first words is, "Watch me." And I'm like, who is this kid? He's a pretty boy, kind of, has a little flashiness to him. And he's like, "Watch me." And I'm like, okay. So I watched him in a drill. I'm like, okay, this kid's got pretty good skill. And so, throughout the workout, afterwards in my camp, he came up to me and says, "Coach, I really want to start training with you. How can we make this work? I live up in Ocala." I was like, well, man, if you just reach out to me, we can make this happen, and, we'll figure it out. But usually my Saturday trainings are more the invite onlys. And so I sent out the invite, and there's some kids up in the Ocala area. Like there's one young one, like Britton Stevens. He's going to be special. He's a younger kid, but they live closer in proximity. So they would come and travel together. And now Gavin's got his own vehicle, so he makes it work. But man, what a special human being he is. And he is very competitive, like you're about to listen to in his interview. And I'm telling you what, this kid is someone you're going to want to remember, especially in the Ocala area. He plays at Westport High School, which is known to have some good quarterbacks. Most recently, Brian Maurer, who's now at the University of Tennessee. So he's kind of filling in his shoes. But man, Gavin, he's very competitive, has a lot of confidence, and he likes to talk smack. And those three qualities are a little bit similar of me in a way. And so you're going to hear from him. So I hope you guys enjoy his interview here on Varsity Sports Network. Well, Gavin, I appreciate you taking the time to go on my show and letting the viewers know a little bit about you and your life and how you became a quarterback and what your favorite things to do as a sport and who you kind of looked up to as an influence in you playing sports today. And I appreciate, you taking the time again and me being your quarterback trainer. You spend a lot of time on weekends coming to train with me, and when you always come to all my camps, even all across the country, you show up. And also when I go up there to Ocala, you're there. You're at Westport High School, which has a lot of history at the quarterback position. So you're in a great spot. And again, the viewers that are watching now are going to get to know a little bit about your story. But we're going to start things off. I really want to know who your biggest influence or sports influence or person in the sports world that really influenced you to really love sports and play the game of football?
Okay. So thank you for having me again. Or thank you for having me. And so I'd say my most influential person would be Drew Brees. And that's because he was at the quarterback position. And he also played different sports in high school. It was multi-sports. He played tennis and football. And since he's shorter and whatnot, he has to overcome and he has to work harder to get where everybody else is at. And I just like how he perseveres and how he moves in the pocket and how he just gets the job done any way he can. And he helps his community as well. Like whenever Hurricane Katrina happened, there was a relief project and he actually put like millions into that. So he's also a good person. So
awesome, man. He also gives a lot of the short quarterbacks hope, playing at the top of his game at only about 5'10", 5'11". You're already taller than him, so you're on the right path.
Yes, sir.
What are 3 reasons that you like sports? Like that, the reason why you maybe play quarterback, or the 3 reasons why in general you play sports? Because I know you are a dual sport athlete. You actually play multiple sports, and you even mentioned the tennis. I know you played tennis at Westport as well. But what are like 3 things that you really like about sports?
So I would say the first thing I like about sports is just like the team, like the unity that we get like through football, especially because that's where I get a lot of my friends, and that's where I can just relax and be myself around them. And I appreciate having that friend group out there because I just feel like those are my brothers. And then also, second thing is being a leader on the football field. I really like guiding my team to do everything right. And even if like we don't win, like so all the blame's on me, which is fine. But whenever we do win, all the blame is on me as well. So it's nice to have that just the whole team is together as one. And then I also like how it keeps my mind off of different things and also gives me a sense of purpose. So that's what I have to say about that.
Awesome. Now, many viewers don't know really who you are. Now they do, hopefully. This is Gavin from Westport High School, quarterback. One thing I like about you, Gavin, is your confidence, man. You remind me of myself in a way where you believe so much in your ability that you're not shy of calling people out on Twitter or reaching out to some big names like Brian Stump with the Elite 11 and saying, give me a shot. You're pretty much living the same kind of story that Brian Maurer did, which was also the quarterback at Westport, who really didn't have much accolades until he was a part of Elite 11. And all of a sudden, now he's at Tennessee. So your story is definitely interesting. But again, I love the fact that you call a lot of people out and you believe so much in your ability to play the game of football, and especially at the quarterback position. So I really want to hear from you. What is your favorite aspect of competing? Like, what do you like so much about competing that really drives your confidence level to really showcase your abilities and not be afraid of telling people like, hey, look at me. I'm special and I can play this game at the highest level?
So to start off with, I'm so confident in the first place because I'm always putting in work. I'm never taking days off and whatnot. So that's the first reason why I like to call out people, because I truly feel like I'm the best quarterback. So it's just my abilities and everything that I've worked so hard for since I've been like 6. I've been playing quarterback and just always loved throwing a football. And but the things I love about competing is just proving myself and just proving to people that, like, they may look at me and be like, oh, he's not that good, but then I'll compete with them and I'll show them that I'm better than them. And it's just a great feeling to compete and just try to be the best.
And let's talk about a little bit of your sports journey at Westport. When was the opportunity that you got the opportunity to take over at the quarterback position and become the starter on varsity? And how was your experiences so far being at Westport? Because you still have another year left. You're only a junior, going to be a senior. So talk about some of your experiences at Westport that you've cherished and hopefully moving forward make more memories.
Okay. So as a sophomore, there was another kid there. His name was Shaheem. And he was a junior that was 6'3". And he was more of like a dual threat kind of guy. And I was having, like, the coach liked him since he was older than me and whatnot. He was, he's a little fast. So I'm pretty fast too. You've seen that, Balin. Mm-hmm. But but anyway, so the first game he started him, didn't do very good. Second game started him, didn't do very good. And then finally I got my chance halfway through the third game against it was against Denellen High School. And from that half on. I started the second half. I think I threw for 130 yards in just that half alone. And that really was when I earned my position as a quarterback at Westport High School. And then the other quarterback, Shaheem, was moved out to wide receiver. And that's when I was the guy for the rest of the year. And also for my homecoming game, we played Citrus High School, which was one of our rivals for a while. And that game was amazing. We had so many fans out there. And I threw for a total of 325 yards in that one game. And it came down to the wire. We ended up losing in the last second, but it came down to a jump ball where the guy was just out of bounds. And that's what it came down to. But then, so this year, my junior year, it's kind of messed up because of COVID. Or not kind of, it was messed up because of COVID and whatnot. And I was only able to play 4 games, but we had a new coaching staff change because the year before we only went 2-8 with our previous head coach. And our head coach now is Steve Rem. He's an amazing coach. And our first 2 games, we won. And we had one game against, it was awesome though, because we had a county schedule. And I used to play this league. It was called M2IFL, so it was Marion County Youth Football League. And we played everybody from just around the county. And I'd play all my friends, everybody that I knew. So it was kind of like just reuniting and being able to play all the different kids I went to elementary school with and went to middle school with, and playing them was pretty fun. And and we were able to go 4-2 in the county this year, which was a good feeling because everybody was counting us out because we went 2-8 the year before. But our team worked so hard, and I couldn't have done it without my teammates. We were weightlifting the whole 5 days a week in the summer, and it was awesome just to get that end goal, all the hard work put together. But I wish we could have had a longer season, but COVID cut it short. So.
Right. So just like my cousin, you have a similar story to my cousin. You know, he got his shot his sophomore year to play on varsity and ended up being a 3-year starter, and you're headed along that same path. And just like his career ended, something similar happened to you the end of your junior year, not the end of your whole season, but you ended up breaking your collarbone and your throwing shoulder. Tell me about that experience and what happened in that play and what your emotions were, because at that point you guys were, I think, 4-1. You were playing really well during that stretch, and it seemed like Westport was on the way of really making a statement in the Ocala area, saying, "Hey, we're back." You know, a lot of changes happening and changes happening fast in a great way. And then all of a sudden you go down with the collarbone, and then you guys ended up losing the game. So talk about that experience of breaking your collarbone and what you plan to do to get back on the field at an even better position than you were this year for your senior year.
Okay. So that was the game that I broke my collarbone in, was the game against Forest High School, which is like our main rival. And they had a couple different but they had a couple different kids, like some 3-stars that went there, like Isaiah Guy and Bert, and they were talking a whole bunch of smack before we played them. And so the game was pretty close the whole time, and we ended up going into overtime. And so whenever we were in overtime, we started at 10, and I just dropped back. It was supposed to be there was a goal on the outside and then a flat in the slot. It was just deuce. So it was it was just 2 wideouts on each side. And I dropped back, and my line, the defensive end started crashing up. So I went to step up, and they have this one kid named Elijah Russell, who's 6'8", and he also plays basketball. And he just came down from behind. I thought I was fast enough to pull away, and I thought I was going to score. But he hawked me from behind. And then just instead of falling and just going like this, I put my arm down, and that's what broke my collarbone. And then what I'm going to do, or what I've been doing, I've just been going to PT and Shands. I had been doing that for the first month. And then it's just a matter of me just keep working and doing everything that I had done before, and just keep coming out to your trainings and just keep getting better, keep getting faster, more intensity. Just we keep coming better.
Yeah, make sure, again, some advice from me is don't ever assume or baby the injury. It happened, but it's healed, and let's move forward and get better, because a lot of people psychologically, they don't feel like they come back better, or they baby the injury. So make sure that you go full speed like you have been. We did a whole intense workout yesterday, and you looked really good, throwing the ball pretty hard, and you're just now coming back full strength. So don't baby it. Keep doing what you're doing, and I'm pretty sure you're gonna have a great senior year, and a lot of things are going to happen for you, and you're going to have a lot of opportunities. But let's talk about my training. Let's talk about, some of the things that you like during my training. What about my training has helped you in improving your game? Also, is there anything that you learned outside of just the game of football through my trainings, or even dealing with me and our relationship? Just talk about that a little bit.
Okay. So what I like about your trainings in the first place is that the intensity that you bring, like you always have energy. You're never just like, yeah, we're going to just do your drop backs, do whatever. You always have a set things that we're going to do. You never just come out there without a plan. And also your outfits are pretty awesome. Whenever you come out there, you usually look better than me, but I don't say nothing about that. People change everything. So that motivates me to be better. And then just everything, like you're always, every time someone goes, you're always looking at them. You're not wandering off, like looking somewhere else. And you're always telling us what we can do better, and just to be quicker, and just little things. And then also after like workouts such as yesterday, like I wasn't happy with how I was doing on the play actions and rolling out and throwing the ball. So I just talked to you, and you weren't upset that I was asking for help after the workouts. Were like, no, it's done. Training's over. You'll take time. As long as I can give you time to place, I can depend on you to be there and just help me. And then you also help me to just set up in as quick as possible, flip my hips, and just be quick.
I promise you, with those fast flip twitches, you'll be homecoming king or prom king next year, man. We always talk about being
yes, sir,
dancers because of those hips. So
yeah, nice, pretty good with the salsa and stuff,
There you go. And no, man, I really appreciate, like I said, your words, man, and you, and as well as all the kids I train, are the reason why I do it every day. And I want to make sure you guys are the best, so that when you guys are on the field, you do have stellar performances, and you're just playing the game and not thinking anymore. And I think that's where you're headed. And your confidence level is through the roof, as you've pretty much shown your personality a little bit on here. And I'm really excited to see how you do in your senior year. And I can promise you, if you keep doing the things you're doing, you'll be signing on signing day next year, and we're going to be celebrating that moment, because you deserve it, man. You are a hard worker, and I'm glad that the people that are watching this are going to get to know you a little bit now. And I know some of those people up in the Ocala area are going to be watching this as well. And now you got a little target on your back, because they want to say, hey, who's this pretty boy trying to showcase himself? But hey, that's what we want, right? As quarterbacks, we want the pressure, because pressure makes diamonds, and we both love diamonds. So I appreciate you, Gavin, being on the show, man. And I love your interview, and I love your position in it and things. And I'm really excited to really be part of your process, and having a great senior year, and hopefully signing that scholarship that you work so hard for, man. So I appreciate you. And man, I'm truly blessed to be your quarterback trainer. So let's keep working, Gavin, and let's have a great senior year at Westport.
Thank you, Coach. I appreciate it.
Coach, man, I tell you what, Gavin's a good kid. He's going to be someone to watch for coming up next season as a senior.
Yeah, I can't wait to see his recruiting process. I've got some things in place for him. And as you guys just listened, he's got some Ivy Leagues after him, which is special, especially that he wants to get in the medical field. That's really special for him. But I'm telling you what, man, coming back from a collarbone injury and his throwing arm, he's done really well. And I trained him yesterday, and man, he looks so polished. And there's little details and little tweaks that we got to work out, as far as his motion. But when it comes together, I'm telling you right now, he might be the leading area passer in Ocala next year. And it's going to help him in the recruiting process. And I can't wait to be a part of that.
Well, we talked a little bit off camera. He's in that big district with Seminole and DeLand, Spruce Creek. I mean, that's a huge district right there in Class 8A. He's got a lot of competition, but he told me he welcomes the competition. So did he learn that confidence from you in one of your camps? Is that where he's getting it from?
Well, remember, when he came to my first camp, he said, watch me. So I think he's built that, which is a great attribute and a great characteristic of a quarterback. And that's what you really want, is someone to say, hey, I got confidence to make it happen. You watch me and let me put on a show for you. So if he can continue that attitude, I'm telling you right now, he'll be big time in Ocala, and he'll make a statement in that district.
No question. Grade A+ in leadership. No question about it. So we look forward to seeing Gavin. Hey, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back right after this. You're watching the TRU Sports Show here on the Varsity Sports Network. Welcome back, everybody, here to the Varsity Sports Network and the TRU Sports Show. Your co-host, Bobby Lattimore, along with Coach Balin Trujillo of the TRU coaching, training, quarterback training here that he does all over Central Florida, really all over the state of Florida and pretty much all over the country. Well known everywhere across the country when it comes to true quarterback training. Balin, two great quarterbacks tonight, man. That shows a little testament to you as far as training them and where these kids are today, because both great kids, great character on either side. And I mean, I'm telling you, these kids are going to be successful wherever they go next year, and it's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, and the best thing about these two is they have great family support. You know, I've talked to Lynn's dad multiple times, and even just as recently talked to Gavin's stepmom. And I'm telling you right now, those two family lives are very supportive behind both of them, which is a testament to their success. I know Gavin's dad and his mom is also a big part of his life, as well as Lynn's whole entire family. So their family lives have contributed a lot to their success. You know, I'm just a small piece in their story. And if I can help them in any way to live out their dreams, just like I was able to, you know, that's what it's all about. Because at the end of the day, it's about them and not about me. And because of their successes, enabling me to reach out to other quarterbacks across the country when they hear about my training. So at the end of the day, it's the kids putting in the work. I'm just a small avenue of getting them there. So I'm very blessed to be a part of those two kids' lives, and hopefully many, many, many more, as you'll see on this show. So it's a testament to them. And I appreciate you, again, showcasing the quarterbacks each week and letting the viewers see who they really are, other than what they might see on a highlight or on Friday nights.
Hey, man, that's what the TRU Sports Show is about. It's about bringing everybody to the forefront and letting them see who they really are. So it's the true side of what sports is, and especially these quarterbacks and what you do with them. I'm going to tell you what, let's talk a little bit about something right now that has come up here over the past couple of years. A lot's been said, especially there's a lot of rumblings going on in the state association here in Florida, where they're going to start making some kind of leeway in whether or not kids are able to play in these certain things. But 7-on-7 football, training football, basically, for these kids, especially you quarterbacks, and you're hot. That's a hotbed for you, Coach. And I tell you what, I just want to get your take. A lot's been said about these all-star teams. These kids to play for their all-star teams, and a lot they finally here in the state of Florida over the last 3, maybe 4 years now. The FHSA has allowed the high school teams to keep their 7-on-7 programs in-house. Some of those kids, though, still want to play at an all-star kind of level in the 7-on-7 training, because they want to see what they can do against the best. Their talent at their high school may not be that level to where they go on these all-star teams, but it's coming to the forefront right now where high school coaches, you either can play one or you can't play the other. Give me your take on that. Number one, give me how you feel about both opportunities. You were 7-on-7 coach on these high school teams. You were very successful. And then you were also very successful in the all-star format of 7-on-7 by taking the best in an area and going off the play. So tell me how you feel about all this. Give me your take on both. I'm just going to turn it over to you.
Yeah, so 7-on-7 in general is just a great avenue for quarterbacks and as well as other athletes to come together and compete. And especially when you have your all-star teams, as we generalize category, put them in that category as far as like, you know, different teams that are having different players from other schools all across, you know, the state or whatever, even some out of state coming to play and then traveling and competing. You know, that's something that's really cool. And I've been a part of that in several different organizations. But I've also been a part of, you know, when I was at Oak Ridge and coaching, we had our own 7-on-7 at Oak Ridge, and we'd battle the you know, surrounding high schools at FCA camps or little 7-on-7 leagues throughout the summer. And that's really good as well, because again, you're building camaraderie with your team. They're also learning the playbook and then building that and going into August when fall camp and all that good stuff for the high school. Now, as far as the FHSAA trying to divide the two, I don't think that's a good idea, because I feel like in both cases, it helps the athletes. So in the one sense, again, we just mentioned those kids that are playing with their high school, that's great. They learn the system, they build camaraderie with their teammates, and that's always throughout the week. So it's not really hindering the weekends where the all-star, right, or those other 7-on-7 leagues are playing or traveling. But here's the problem. FHSAA is also considering COVID. And so when those kids are exposed to other people from other high schools traveling and doing all that they're also bringing the possibility of the virus into their program as well, instead of being in a more controlled environment with their high school and they're not allowing those kids to travel and do stuff that are outside of their control that could possibly hinder their program. So that's a big factor I know that they're considering. So again, we're all in this pandemic right now. We're trying to adjust and make, different things, and that's best for the kid. If as long as the kid is the main objective and what's best for each individual kid, I think that's what I'll stand for. But 7-on-7s, there's a big hot topic, whether that, the all-star 7-on-7s, whether that helps a kid with recruiting or not. In my personal opinion, in dealing with 7-on-7s, I do believe that the networking involved in 7-on-7 could help the kid get scholarships. I know I see that a lot with a known team here in the Central Florida area, Certified Dogs. They have a great program run by A.G. Wasim, and he does a very good job of connecting kids to high schools or to colleges and getting them the opportunity to earn scholarships, not necessarily being part of 7-on-7s, getting them the offers, but being around the organization and the connections that they have has put them in position to get them offers. The other local teams like Central Florida All-Stars, Popka Next Level, Gridiron Elite, some of those guys have elite talent. And again, those coaches have connections, which is enabling those kids to get those scholarship opportunities. I don't think that being a part of 7-on-7 is getting them those offers, but it's the connections that are made through 7-on-7 and the coaches. Whereas a coach from, let's say, Apopka High School is now having a kid from Seminole. That Apopka coach has a wide variety of networks which can reach out to other coaches and get those kids offers, whereas Seminole may not have those same opportunities, but they also have other networks. So it's just building a brand of networks around these kids when they go into All-Stars or all-star tournaments or all-star teams, that's giving those kids more of an opportunity to play college football or get the opportunity to get a scholarship. So that's why I love 7-on-7. It's not necessarily being a part of 7-on-7 that's going to get them that offer, but it's the surrounding networks that give those kids more opportunities as far as like name recognition and visibility to other colleges, whereas some of these high schools don't have those same connections within their own coaching staff. So I do support both. I would love to still see that they can do both. Because, I have a lot of talent, a lot of quarterbacks that do benefit from doing the traveling with all-star teams and playing on different organizations other than their high schools. And I also like that the high schools are doing the 7-on-7s because, again, they're building camaraderie with the team and also competing against other local high schools and kind of building their momentum going into the fall. So if they stop one or the other, in my opinion, if I was a athlete, I would definitely stick more towards being a part of the high school, only because they're really in control of your future. And again, that's what's going to matter when it comes August in your career. As far as an athlete, is those high schools, you're going to want to be around your head coach. You're going to want to be around your teammates, because at the end of the day, that's what really matters. 7-on-7, again, like I mentioned, is great for both. And there's a lot of positives in both. But, if the FHSA makes that decision and kids have to make a choice, I think that they need to go more towards their high school.
Let's talk a little bit about a controversial subject in the 7-on-7s. And when you're dealing with high school all-star teams, as you mentioned, a lot of coaches say that those high school teams, those all-star teams, kind of recruit towards or push kids towards another program so they'd be better off at. Do you see that happening, or do you not, or whatever? I just want to throw that out because, let's talk about it.
Look, see, this is the reason why I got out of high school coaching, so that I can talk about topics like this, because now I have no shame. Yes, that happens. I mean, that's just obvious. So the kids that play in those all-star leagues are going to be around other coaches. So guess what? They're going to start building bonds with those coaches, or they're going to start building bonds with the players that they're playing with in those all-star environments or those 7-on-7 organizations. So what do they want to do? They want to play with their friends. They want to play for those coaches. So they end up transferring. And you see a lot of that, especially now. I feel like the transfer portal is almost the same in college as it is in high school. You see kids bouncing around and trying to make high school all-star teams and building together like powerhouses. And guess what? They start building those relationships and those networks in 7-on-7. They do. And I've seen it firsthand. And, at the end of the day, we're really missing the community-based as far as, kids representing their communities and really wanting to play for the high school that they've grown up in. And now they're just joining the powerhouse just so they can potentially win a state championship. So I'm not really, I'm for both. I'm for both the community, but I'm a transfer as well. So I would be lying if I didn't say I support transfers, because I do. And I have a lot of quarterbacks that transfer, and it is what it is for the opportunity or what have you. But at the end of the day, yeah, I do see 7-on-7 being a factor. I wouldn't say it's the biggest factor, but it is a factor in how kids, if they decide to transfer or not, to play for other coaches or even play with other teammates.
You brought up a good point with the All-Star 7-on-7 again, having that I'm gonna get it. Let me get it. Okay, here we go. You brought up a good point with the 7-on-7 All-Star teams having that pipeline to those colleges, maybe a little more so than the high schools would have. Tell me a little bit about that. Why do they have that extra contact with those coaches other than what a high school would have?
That's a very good question. In my opinion, along with 7-on-7, I think trainers also have a bigger network than some of the high school coaches, because of the use of Twitter and the use of social media and getting those kids more marketing. They're really gearing towards the athlete. Again, the high school coaches really have to, it's a team thing. It's really about team. And so is 7-on-7, but there's a lot of individual things that happen with 7-on-7 and marketing kids and getting them more exposure. And for whatever the reason, a lot of these colleges are really relying on trainers and relying on 7-on-7 organizations to really get to know more about the athlete. I don't know about the recruiting stipulations or the rules against, communication, but I communicate with college coaches all the time. I have a lot of contacts. I have a lot of Twitter followers that are coaches, and I market, and that's through my training, and I take pride in that. And a lot of these kids that I've gotten signed on signing day, unfortunately for me, is through the business of my training and not necessarily the high school. So I don't know why that is, but they do trust the organizations more than what they see on a Friday night. I don't know. But at the end of the day, if the 7-on-7s are doing their job and helping market kids just like I am through my trainings, then hey, keep doing it. I mean, if it's an ego thing, it's not really with me, but some high school coaches take pride in getting kids signed and stuff. That's great. But they also got to realize that there's a lot of other people that help in that process as well to get those kids looked at. So it's about the kid. If we keep kids first, I think that at the end of the day, they're going to get the opportunities, whether that's playing in 7-on-7s and networking through that or through their trainers or through their high schools. But I just feel like the trainers and the 7-on-7 programs have more of a way of marketing kids specifically in an individual sense than the high school teams do. And that's just my opinion, because we're used to the new age of things, and a lot of high school coaches are old school. So
good stuff, man. Good stuff, Coach. That's awesome stuff. We're going to take a break. When we come back, the tip of the week here on the TRU Sports Show. We'll be back right after this on the Varsity Sports Network. Welcome back, everybody, here to the TRU Sports Show here on the Varsity Sports Network. Balin, great show tonight, man. We've got two good kids we highlighted tonight, plus a great topic on 7-on-7, man. True stuff. That's why we call it the TRU Sports Show, because it's all true. Hey, listen, tell us a little bit about the tip of the week, and we'll head on out of here.
So last week we talked a lot about the arm development and how to properly throw a football, and this week we're going to talk about footwork development.
So after we learn how the proper techniques to throw a football, which again, you want to eliminate the sidearm throw, you want to eliminate the dropping of the ball, you want to use this left arm to push the ball up. Here's our 90 degrees. Here's our 90 degrees. Follow through. So you work those two drills that you learned these past 2 weeks. Now we're going to go into the fundamentals of your drop step. This is the hardest thing to teach quarterbacks. You have to understand that when I'm in a drop step, I want to see the entire field as a quarterback. I don't want to cross over my foot, because naturally my hip will go to one side of the field, which results in me seeing only one half of the field. Again, as a quarterback, you want to see the entire field. So a simple little detail that can change that. All you have to do is worry about your hip, your knee, and your toe pointing forward. So when I'm pushing off, I'm here. So now I can see here, here, and here. But if I lift my left foot, I naturally cut off, and now I can only read one half of the field. So a little simple detail of opening up your hip just a little bit can change the world of difference as a quarterback. So again, we want to open, nice and smooth, right? Nice and smooth, feet fluid. You want to push up that left toe. So again, I'm going to have Dominic, have you seen the last couple of weeks, demonstrate the proper way to do a drop step. So the best way to do this, and the football field by yourself or trying to get working, is find a line. You want to go to a field with lines so that you know when you're in a drop step, you're going straight back. Because a lot of times kids drift off the line and they're going at angles. They don't even realize that. A little detail like that can also change your game. But here's the drop step. We're going to focus on our toe and our knee forward, pushing off on the line to make sure you're going straight back in the drop step. Got it? So nice and easy, nice and slow. Go smooth, drop step, toe, knee, forward. Good. So go, push, push, push. Toe, knee, forward, that's perfect. He sees the whole field. Break. Toe, knee, forward, see the whole field, open up that hip. That is smooth right there, very smooth. Good.
Coach, man, some great tips. Each week, we're going to start bringing you those tips, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Get these quarterbacks, even the younger groups, even younger kids. That's basically what it's geared towards, so they can develop early on to get better, to get up to that level that they want to be where you played.
Yeah, so but they'll hear the tips, but I'm not giving away too much. You're going to get the basics, but if you really want to advance your skills, you know where to find me for some good quarterback training.
So look him up at BalinTrujillo.com and sign up today, man. I'm telling you what, Coach, one of the best, no doubt. Hey, episode number 4 in the books, bud.
That was awesome, man. A lot of fun, a lot of knowledge. I can't wait for next week.
Absolutely. We're going to keep it going. We'll see you next time here on the TRU Sports Show here on the Varsity Sports Network.